Hello folks and welcome to this video. March the 8th is International Women's Day, and generally I like to do a little bit of a video talking about the role of women in motorsport and the position the women continue to play in motorsport, because it's nice to track how the representation of women in motorsport is progressing. And whilst it's by no means a sort of this is where we have to be, there is always still more that can be done, and more than hopefully will be done. It's nice to look back at where motorsport is and then go on to look at ways forward. Let's do a bit of that. I will start off with F1 Academy. F1 Academy had a strong second season, and all the races were broadcast for free online for everyone to watch. There was a nice high turnout, especially compared to the first season, where it wasn't part of the F1 circus for every event. And most of the broadcasts were replay highlight packages. It was the event in which Abby Pulling dominated proceedings, but other drivers were still able to pick up event wins: Dorian Pan, Chloe Chambers, and Maya Verg. Those three are all going to be back in 2025 as Abby Pulling steps up to GB3. And this season's lineup, that will start in the next couple of months, has more potential talents coming up full time, such as Ella Lloyd, who had taken part, I believe, in the Formula E test day, which is an excellent to talk about. Because the FE testing was great to see again. This one took place at Harama during pre-season testing. It's originally scheduled to take part of Valencia testing, but testing had to move to Jarama after the flooding in Catalonia. And today, Formula E have announced that it will return again at the pre-season test for Season 12. And in addition to up-and-comers for F1 Academy, the entry list also featured the likes of Jamie Chadwick, Bianca Visser, Tatiana Calderon, and Simona de Silvestro. Drivers generally performed well. The headline time was Abby Pulling, who was ahead of Jamie Chadwick at the end of the test. And the top drivers were at a similar pace to the Formula E regulars. The Formula E World Champions were on their first day of testing. I'm going to move on to endurance racing now. And endurance racing is arguably still one of the landmark series for women in motorsport, largely because of the existence of the Iron Dames. The offshoot from Iron Lynx has dozens of drivers on their books, past and present, and they performed really well last year in endurance racing. The Iron Dames beat the Iron Lynx team in LMGT3 in WEC, and then in the European Le Mans Series, where they were in a Porsche, because the main Iron Lynx team was in a Lamborghini because of the Lamborghini tie-in. They beat the other Iron Lynx ran Proton Competition Porsche. In the Le Mans Cup, they got 6th place for the second year in a row, and at the same time in Daytona, 6 weeks ago now, they ended up getting 8th place. I think it's, 2 top 10s in a row now for the Iron Dames and the Rolex 24. But now we get to move over to rallying and talk about one of my passion areas here. The world of rallying is still very good for women in motorsport, symbolised over the 2024 season by all the outpouring of support for rally legend Michelle Mouton and all of the appraisals of her career. Mouton, after being the first woman to win a WRC event and a vice champion, spent her post-racing career as the FIA safety delegate for the WRC. Also the architect of the Race of Champions, which took place over this weekend in Australia. It was great to see the legend of the sport being celebrated in all of her glory. This season in WRC2, we actually have Iron Dames, because Iron Lynx have teamed up with Sarazan Motorsport, former storied racer Stefan Sarazan, who's been in WRC, F1, WEC. He's done the whole works. And Sarah Moe as the driver for an all-female crew. Picked up a top 10 finish at Monte Carlo and also then performed relatively well in other events. Somebody who's done 2 so far and has done Monte and Sweden is Rachel Samashini, who is raising money for cystic fibrosis research in addition to competing in the championship. It's a charity that she's a patron of, as she's somebody who lives with a condition. The WRC itself, the sport itself, is also taking initiative to help get women into motorsport, and this is because of the Beyond Rally initiative. I believe that drivers who've been involved in it have been people like, I think Louise Aiken-Walk has been involved in it, but one of the headline names is Pernilla Solberg, former rally driver in her own right. Her highest accomplishments in terms of international level are that she is the manager of the PSRX team and the Solberg World Rally team. She's also been not just a great team manager, but a great organizer for women's equality events in terms of motorsport. In addition to taking a massive role in managing the careers of 2003 World Rally champion and 2014-2015 World Rallycross champion Petter Solberg and their son, the current WRC 2 points leader and vice champion last year, Oliver Solberg, who takes his mother's Swedish nationality. Beyond Rally initiative saw 15 drivers out in Kraków at M-Sport Poland's base, testing out all kinds of different things, including their media duties, so that you have a well-rounded performer who can attract sponsors and not only just compete at the highest level, but find all of these other ways to become the multifaceted athlete that you need to be at the very top of motorsport now. 3 graduates ended up competing in the Central European Rally for a shootout, and 2 of them, Claire Schönborn and Alicia Baudet, went to Sweden for a second showdown. Claire Schönborn was crowned the winner of this, and yeah, in the end, she was able to get this fully funded JWRC ride for 2025. A bit similar to what the WRC did in 2024 with their eventual JWRC champion Robert Jurgensen as part of the Rally Star initiative. The last thing I want to talk about is to do with Rally Raid, actually, because Danielle Akil ended up getting a class victory this time around at the Dakar, not the Dakar Rally, sorry, the Abu Dhabi Desert Challenge. She did get a stage win in the Dakar Rally, as did Sarah Price, which is almightily impressive. Now, the Dakar Rally was won by Jutta Kleinschmidt in 2001 for Fabrizia Pons. Co-driver to Michelle Mouton was Jutta Kleinschmidt's co-driver that time around. And Fabrizia Pons was back again. She was co-driving in the classic category this time around, where her crew saw good results. It's really cool to see all of these achievements being made and all of this progress coming forward as well. It's one of the things that's really nice to see as a fan of motor racing. But there is still more that can be done. I mean, at the end of the day, you could look at it as a proportion of the population, right? There are hurdles that need to be overcome as well. Because there are all of these different reasons why motorsport isn't as accessible for women and girls. It's great to see initiatives come down, and the FIA takes part in it, and you see some of the world champions claiming a role and trying to do what they can to promote the presence and equality within motorsport. It's great to see. It's great to see those values reflected. But there is still more that can be done. Part of it is about accessibility for the cars. I was listening to an interview that Abby Eaton recently did, where she was talking about how some of the problems that she found was, for example, G-forces through the neck, or the train to deal with power steering. And that's something that drivers generally struggle with. It was one of the things that Tatiana Calderon talked about, why when she was driving the Sauber F1 car, it was easier for her than racing in Formula 2, because the F1 car has power steering, the F2 car does not. And some of this will be attached to this whole macho man image that harms everybody in motorsport, right? Because they'll be like, oh, we should just make sure that, oh, this is just where you need to be at. We don't think about adapting these things so that more people can engage with them. I bet that there are a lot of competitors at the higher levels of motorsport who compete in sports where they don't have power steering and be like, well, you know what, power steering would actually be quite sensible to have. Cars have them as standard. And had them as standard for about 2 decades. And it doesn't need to be, fully electric power steering. I've had that before in a car, and it's lovely, it's beautiful. But even the hydraulic stuff can be good. I mean, it's what most of us do have on the road. I've got it in my car. I've got power assisted steering. And there are reasons to be optimistic. Whilst there isn't as much representation of women as there could be in motorsport, the likes of ProDrive has Cristina Gutierrez as one of their drivers in the Dakar this year for the Dacia Silent Riders. Jamie Chadwick won a round of Indy Next at Road America. Susie Wolff, who has been at the top of the Women in Motorsport Commission for the FIA, could be about to have a run for the FIA presidency against Mohammed bin Sulayem at the end of this year. I'm hoping that in 12 months' time, when I make this video again, we talk about a lot more positives like these. And I hope that you are as well. And on that note, thanks for watching and joining, folks. Until next time. Bye for now.